My mother left me a voicemail at 2 a.m. saying, "Don't bother coming for Thanksgiving. I've already told my attorney to remove you from everything." I just texted back, "Good luck with that," and made 3 phone calls before sunrise. By Monday morning, she was frantically calling me every 10 minutes. I haven't picked up once, but I know exactly why she's panicking. The voicemail was 91 seconds long, and she was slurring by the end of it. She said I had embarrassed her at my cousin's wedding by not standing for the toast. I had a fever of 102 and had driven 4 hours to be there. That was the crime. My sister Delphine has been the good daughter since roughly 1998. My mother introduced her at parties as my Delphine, and introduced me as my other one. When our grandmother died 6 years ago, Delphine got the pearls and I got a cardboard box of Nana Vivian's gardening books, and my mother made a whole speech about how some people appreciate sentimental things. Everybody nodded. I said thank you. 3 times over those 6 years I tried to explain something to my mother, and 3 times she wouldn't let the sentence finish. The first time, at the reading, I said, "Mom, we should sit down with Georgette about how the trust actually works." She said, "Don't you dare turn my mother's death into paperwork." The second time was when she wanted to put in the sunroom. I said, "That house has restrictions. Let me walk you through them." She said, "It's my house and I don't need a lecture from you." The third time was 2 years ago when the distributions got late by 9 days, and she screamed at me for 20 minutes on the phone about the bank. I said, "It isn't the bank." She hung up before the second half of the sentence, so I stopped saying it. I just kept approving them. Here is what my mother has never once understood. Nana Vivian did not leave her the house. Nana Vivian put the house, the 2 rental duplexes, and the brokerage account into a trust, and she named me successor trustee. And she did it in 2016 after my mother lost $11,000 in a single weekend and asked her to cover it. My grandmother told me in her sunroom, holding my wrist, that she wasn't punishing anybody. She was just refusing to hand a hose to somebody who was on fire. She asked me not to make a spectacle of it. I didn't. For 6 years, my mother has lived in that house rent-free, and every month a distribution has gone to her checking account, and every month it went because I signed off on it. She thought it was her money moving on its own. My 3 calls that morning took under 40 minutes. The first was to Georgette, the trust attorney, whose voicemail I filled at 4:12 a.m. asking her to send a written statement of trusteeship to every named beneficiary. The second was to the property manager for the duplexes, telling him to stop routing the rents through my mother's account and route them to the trust account where they legally belonged and always had. The third was to the bank, where I paused discretionary distributions pending review. Not canceled, paused. That word matters, and she still doesn't know it. Georgette's letters went out Friday. They landed Monday. My phone started at 8:40 in the morning and did not stop. I let all of it ring. On Thursday, I drove over anyway, because it was Thanksgiving and I wanted to see it. There were 11 people in that dining room. My aunt had one of Georgette's letters flat on the table next to the rolls. Delphine had another one open on her phone. My mother stood up when I came through the door, and her face did something I'd never seen on her, which was fear. She said, "Tell them this is a mistake." I said, "It isn't." Delphine said, "Mom, it says she's been the trustee since 2016. My aunt said, "It says the rentals were never in your name." My mother's voice came out flat and cold and finally true. She hid it from me for 6 years. She sat at this table and let me thank God for a house she was holding over my head. "I never held anything over you," I said. "I signed your money every month and let you think it came from the sky, because Nana asked me to keep it quiet, and because you never once let me finish a sentence about it." Somebody's chair scraped back. My aunt said, "Vivian knew what she was doing." My mother said, "So you're taking my house?" "No," I said. "I'm going to keep approving your distributions, same as always, because that's what she wanted. I'm just done being told I'm being removed from something I've been carrying." I set my keys on the table, took Nana's gardening books out of my bag where they'd been since Monday, and put them down next to the letter.